Well, it's major week this week on the LPGA. The AIG Women's Open from St. Andrews, the old course. So pumped for this one. Here's a look at Brooke Henderson's career at the Women's Open. Surprisingly, she only has one top 10 in 9 starts. She's looking to improve on that this week. Can't wait for the AIG Women's Open this week. Mark, just how awesome is it that St. Andrews is hosting the Women's Open?
Well, for me, guys, it's the same as the men's game. I get more geared up. I get more excited when the tour visits iconic venues. This is exactly the same. I loved it when the ladies played at Pinehurst. I would love to see a day where they played a women's Masters at Augusta or a women's Players Championship at TPC Sawgrass. This is amazing. The best female players on the planet, the home of golf. This is as good as it gets.
And we saw a really good tournament last year as well at Pebble Beach, the U.S. Women's Open. I'm so excited for this tournament this week. Let's talk about Brooke Henderson, guys, because 7 top 10s this season for Brooke. Yes, she doesn't have a win, but she does have 7 top 10s. Bob, what are your expectations for Brooke Henderson this week?
You know, the one thing that sort of worries me is the fatigue factor. She's played a lot lately, and going from the CPKC Women's Open, had a week off, and then she did the Olympics, and she did the Scottish Open, and now she's at the Open Championship. You know, and the other thing that I'm really going to be looking for this week, I had a conversation with a noted coach last week, not one who worked with Brooke, but one who observes, and pointed out the fact that, you know, she doesn't really get off to fast starts, and we've seen that from time to time. It's not a consistent thing, but more often than not. And you wonder if that's bad preparation. As she gets to know the course better, she scores better, or if it's just the way she is, if she's just a slow starter. But I would really like to see her get off to a quick start. And I know everyone's going to be focusing on her putting, and we'll all get all sorts of text messages or, you know, social media posts asking about should she have a coach here and a coach there. That's for her to decide. I'm not going to wave into that anymore. But I do think a good fast start, and that would kind of get her excitement flowing for this if it already isn't, as Mark said, playing on the old course.
And when she won her last major championship at the Evian a couple of years ago, she got off to a really, really good start, and we all know what happened at the end of that week. Now, Mark, we know Brooke Henderson hasn't played that great at this tournament, just the one top 10 in 9 starts. How surprising is that to you?
It's shocking to me, guys. In our year-end predictions every year, I always say, oh, and by the way, Brooke Henderson's going to win the Women's Open Championship. And it never happens. And it's almost become a part of a joke because, to Bob's point, everybody wants to talk about her putting and strokes gained around the green. And occasionally over the years, her bunker play has been, you know, mediocre. She's known as one of the greatest ball strikers over the last decade. You know, in windy conditions, in open championship conditions where, you know, putting and you have options around the green where you can play different shots, it's typically ball strikers that beat the wind. This makes no sense to me at all, guys. I'm still waiting for that Open Championship win. And if it doesn't happen this week, Adam, guess what I'm going to do in November and December when we do our predictions for next year? You guessed it. I'll predict it again.
Well, Brooke Henderson's best finish at the Women's Open is a T7 back in 2022. Now, Bob, there's a lot of great stories on the LPGA this season, but Lauren Coughlin, she has just been on fire. She won the CPKC Women's Open in Calgary. She won last week at the Scottish Open, too. How remarkable has this story been?
It's a great story, and it's, you know, it's a player who had lots of talent through his amateur career, came into the pros and really just kind of didn't get her footing done. You know, she sort of wandered here and there, and she played well but not great, and then all of a sudden she just turns it on. Now, part of it could be the fact that she has Annika Sorenstrom's old caddy on the bag, and when she won at out in Calgary, you know, he played a key role in kind of just shepherding her and keeping her emotions in check and focusing her on what she needed to do. And that win was a really, again, in a very tight competition, 3 players coming down to the 17th hole, and she burst through and had a finishing kick and won. And I'm not surprised that she won again, because I think now that she's figured out how to win, that you don't have to be perfect in every shot, I think she could win more. And I guarantee you she's going to be a popular pick at the betting halls in Scotland this week.
A great story for the 31-year-old journeywoman who has also clinched her spot on the U.S. Solheim Cup Team 2.